Hello everyone, I welcome you all in the next session of Control System. Myself Rahul Mane, working as Assistant Professor in Department of Electrical Engineering, Kekewag, Institute of Engineering Education and Research, Nasik. In previous session, we learned the different steps present to solve the root locus problem. Now, today we will implement that steps to solve a problem based on root locus. So here some learning objectives for today's session are: at the end of this session you will be able to solve the root locus problem for given system. Also you can sketch the root locus as well as you can comment on the stability of system. So prerequisites for the sessions are Routh-Hurwitz's criteria and reference from Control System by Anand Kumar, PHI Publications. Okay, so here I have chosen one numerical which is based on the root locus. So the example is: sketch the root locus of the system whose open loop transfer function is given as g of s is equal to k divided by s in a bracket s plus 1 in another bracket s plus 2. So before solving this numerical, let's quickly revise the different steps which are present in root locus. So first of all, we know that root locus is always symmetrical about the real axis, means the upper portion from the real axis and down portion from the real axis, these are symmetrical to each other. Second point is that real axis segment means the point on which root locus will lie. Okay, so that region we need to decide in which root locus will lie on the real axis. Next, we know that root locus begins at open loop poles and it terminates at open loop zeros. After that, we need to find out the number of asymptotes, angle for that asymptotes and centroid. Okay, so up to this point we need to consider the open loop transfer function of the system, and till this point we are just trying to find out the direction of the root locus. Okay, now rule number 5 and rule number 6, which are actually useful to plot the root locus, and these 2 points, that is break-in points and point of intersection to the imaginary axis and angle of departure. So all these steps are depend on closed loop systems. Okay, so these are the just rules which are used to solve the root locus problems. Now we will see the one by one steps. Okay, so starting point, from where to start the root locus. Okay, so initially I need to find out the starting point, and we know that root locus starts from open loop poles. At this point the value of k is equal to 0, means initially we are considering the gain is 0 for that system, and now find out the open loop poles and open loop zeros for the given transfer function. So observe here, this is the transfer function k upon s in a bracket s plus 1 in another bracket s plus 2, means here zeros are 0, means there is no 0 present in this transfer function, whereas real poles are 3, means one pole is located at origin whereas 2 real poles are present in the transfer function. So total there are 3 poles, means one pole is at origin, means s1 is equal to 0, second pole s2 is equal to minus 1, and third pole s3 is equal to minus 2. Okay, so this is the starting point or starting procedure which needs while constructing the root locus. Second, ending point. So we know that root locus terminates at open loop zeros. So at this point the value of k is infinite. So k is equal to infinite. So it is clear that the gain of the system is varied from 0 to infinity, and then we are going to construct a root locus, as well as at lastly we will find the value of k marginal also, means for the marginal stability system. Okay, so in this transfer function, the open loop transfer function, has no 0, means z is equal to 0. So here open loop poles are 3 and open loop zeros are 0. Okay, next. So now after that we need to plot that pole 0 on the S plane. So this is the simple representation of pole 0 representation on the S plane. So here I am having first pole at S is equal to 0, second pole at S is equal to -1, third real pole at S is equal to -2. Okay, so this is the pole 0 representation. There is no 0 present in this transfer function. Okay, so now next step. So here I have to find out the number of root locus or branches which are tending towards the infinity. Okay, so number of roots or root locus branches here are max of p comma z, means maximum of p comma z. So I know that here number of poles are 3, number of zeros are 0, means max of p comma z. So maximum of p comma z, so maximum number is 3. So number of root locus branches are 3 for this given transfer function. Next step, root loci segment on the real axis, means the point or a segment or a region on which root locus will lie on the real axis. Okay, so already this step was explained in previous session, still we will again repeat it. So in order to find out the region on which root locus will lie, so for that purpose I have to first of all denote the pole and zeros on the S plane. So here already we have denoted the poles 1, 2 and these 3 poles are there for this given transfer function. Now we will consider a point A in between 0 to -1. That point A may be anywhere at point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, likewise up to -1. Okay, so in this region, if you are observing the right side portion from that point, then the count of open loop poles and zeros is 1, means one pole is located at S is equal to 0. So that's why the final count is 1 and this 1 is an odd number. So I can say that root locus may present or may lie in between -1 to 0. So in this region there is a chances that root locus will lie. Okay, now second we will check another point. So let's consider, I am considering at a point B, that point B which is present in between -1 and -2. So that may be anywhere 1.2, -1.4, -1.6, 1.7, like this. At any point you can consider the point B and measure the open loop poles and zeros towards the right side from the point B. Okay, so here the count is 2, means 2 poles are present in the right side from the point B. Okay, now this 2 means it is a even number, so root locus does not lie till the point -1, means till the pole -1. Once you are crossing the -1, then in this region root locus will lie cause the count is 1. Now after that -1, here 2 poles are present, so root locus will does not lie in -2 to -1. Okay, so in this region root locus does not lie. Now again I will check next point. So let's consider there is a point C which is present in between -2 to -3, and if you are observing this point C, that may be located anywhere on a real axis, -2.2, -2.4, likewise. So now do the count from this C point. So here 1 pole, 2 pole and 3 pole. So towards the right side 3 poles are present from point C. So this 3 number is odd. So root locus may lie from -2 to -3 onwards up to infinity. Okay, so in this region again root locus may be present. So in this way I can find out the region in which root locus will lie. So final region will be -1 to 0 and -2 onwards. So in this region root locus may lie for the given transfer function. Okay, now here I have shown this region with the help of this dark line. So here and here root locus may be present in between 0 to -1 and -2 to onwards. Okay. Now number of asymptotes. Next step is to find out the number of asymptotes for the given transfer function. So number of asymptotes for the given transfer function is given with the help of formula P minus Z, where P is open loop poles and Z is open loop zeros. So in this given numerical, P is 3 and Z is 0. So 3 minus 0 will be 3. So final number of asymptotes will be 3. Okay. So what is asymptotes? The asymptotes indicates that number of root loci branches that terminates towards the infinity. That is terminating towards the infinity. Okay. So right now we have 3 asymptotes for the given problem due to 3 real poles and there is no 0. Okay. So I am having 3 asymptotes. So if we are having 3 asymptotes, it means that we need to calculate the 3 angle of asymptotes. Okay. So how to calculate the angle of asymptotes? So the angle of asymptote is given by the formula theta is equal to 2q plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z, where q is varying from 0, 1, 2 likewise. Okay. So up to p minus z minus 1. So here I am having 3 asymptotes, means I need to calculate 3 angle of asymptotes. So for first angle, I will take the value of q is equal to 0 and then I will calculate the theta 1. So theta 1, so put here the value q is equal to 0. So numerator will be 180 divided by p minus z is 3. So the final answer will be 60 degree. So theta 1, so angle for the first asymptote is 60 degree. Now second q2, means actually instead of q2 second angle is theta 2, and while calculating theta 2 I will consider the value of q is equal to 1. So put this value q is equal to 1 in this equation. So I will get 2 plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z. So p minus z is 3. So overall I will get here 180 degree. Okay. So this is the second angle of asymptotes. Now third, for third angle, for the third asymptotes, so which is given by theta 3, and here I can consider the value of q for the third angle is q2. Q is equal to 2. Okay. So after solving this I will get the third angle of asymptotes as 300. Okay. So right now we have calculated the region in which root locus will lie. After that, number of asymptotes and angle for that asymptotes. Now I am having number of asymptotes 3. Also I am having angle of asymptotes, that is 60 degree, 180 degree and 300, but I don't know from which point that asymptote should be drawn and from which point I will measure the angle of asymptotes. So for that I need to find out the centroid which is present on the real axis, and from that centroid I can measure the angle and I can plot the asymptotes. Okay. So that centroid is given by sigma is equal to sum of real part of poles minus sum of real part of zeros divided by p minus z. Okay. So here I have to just consider the real part. Please don't forget to take a real part. If the poles are having any complex conjugate term, then just consider the real part from that complex conjugate portion. Okay. It means if I am having the roots like this -2 plus 3j, then the real part is just -2. So I am considering the sum of real part of poles minus sum of real part of 0 divided by here p minus z. P minus z means number of poles minus number of zeros. So in this numerical I am having poles p is equal to 3, zeros are 0. So p minus z is 3. So denominator will be 3. Now for numerator, sum of real part of poles. So we know that first pole S1 is 0, second pole S2 is -1 and S3 is -2. So sum of all these portions minus sum of zeros. So zeros are 0 divided by P minus Z is 3. So the final equation will look like this, and the final obtained value is -3/3. So that will be the -1. So centroid for this given problem is at -1 on real axis. Okay. So till now, with the help of open loop transfer function, we have determined the number of asymptotes, angle of asymptotes, and centroid for that asymptotes on a real axis. Okay. So let's draw these asymptotes. Centroid, denote the centroid and the pole 0 location in a S plane. Okay, so this is the simple diagram in which here it is a real axis, here it is an imaginary axis, and I have denoted 3 poles S1, S2 and S3. So these are the 3 open loop poles, and after that we have calculated the number of asymptotes are 3, angle 60, 180 and 300, and next one is centroid. So centroid is -1. So here centroid is -1. Now from this -1 point I can measure the 60-degree angle, 180-degree angle and 300-degree angle like this, and I will draw the asymptotes with the faint dotted line up to infinity. Okay, so these asymptotes can be plotted up to infinity, and they will help us to decide the direction of final root locus. These asymptotes is not a root locus, centroid is not a root locus, or angle of asymptotes is not a root locus. All these terms are just helping us to decide the final direction of root locus from the open loop transfer function. Okay, so here is a just small representation, and 3 asymptotes are shown with the help of dotted line 1, 2, and here it is 180-degree 3. So these are the 3 asymptotes with centroid as a -1. Okay, which is shown on this pole 0 plot. Okay, now next, now from this point actual root locus will start. So first step is we need to find out the breakaway point. Now in this case we are having 3 poles. So 2 poles will collide on each other and they will split away, whereas one pole will continue to move on a real axis. Okay, so how to find out the breakaway point? So breakaway point is applicable for poles, whereas break-in point is applicable for zeros. Okay, so here as 3 poles are present, so we need to find out the breakaway point, and here some steps are explained how to find out the breakaway point. So we know that in order to find out the breakaway point, first of all I need to convert the open loop transfer function into closed loop, and one can obtain the characteristic equation as 1 plus g of s into h of s is equal to 0 from the given system. Okay, in second step, so as in this characteristic equation there is introduction of k term, so we have to rearrange this equation in the form of k and variable s. Okay, so in second step I will separate this equation in terms of k and in terms of variable s. Okay, so now next, thirdly, I will take the derivative of this equation, that is dk by ds, and I will compare it is equal to 0, means dk by ds is equal to 0, and after taking the derivative of this k factor, you will find the breakaway point. Okay, so let's start. So this is the characteristic equation for the given system or given transfer function, that will be s in a bracket s plus 1 into s plus 2 plus k is equal to 0. So the equation is arranged in terms of k. So finally I will get the term k is equal to minus s cube minus 3s square minus 2s. Okay, so this is the value, this is the equation for k. Now compare this equation, sorry, take the derivative of this equation with respect to s. So dk by ds is equal to minus 3s square minus 6s minus 2. Okay, so this will be the equation, and which is compared to 0. So this is the equation, and now find the roots of this equation. So the after calculating the roots for that equation, the point or the value of variable s is minus 1.5774, and it is not possible to draw the root locus in between minus 1 to 2. Okay, already we have defined the region in which root locus will lie is 0 to minus 1 and minus 2 onwards. So here first point or breakaway point is at minus 1.5, so which is not possible to draw the root locus from this point. Okay, so that's why the second root obtained from this characteristic equation is minus 0.4226, and if you are observing this, then already we have determined that root locus may lie in between 0 to minus 1 or minus 2 and onwards. So this point is a valid breakaway point for the given system, which minus 0.4226, this is the valid breakaway point. Means these two poles, this and these two poles may collide on each other, and they will get split from the point minus 0.4226. This is the valid breakaway point. Okay, so in this way you can find out the breakaway point for the given transfer function. Now next, after getting the breakaway point, we can find out the point of intersection to the imaginary axis. Why we are finding the point of intersection to the imaginary axis? Cause as the two poles are colliding on each other and they are splitting from the real axis, then it may happen that some pole, means one pole, may move in upward direction, whereas another pole will move in downward direction. And if you are continuously varying the gain k, then these roots or these pole may cross the point of intersection to the imaginary axis, and the poles will move in a RHS, and in that case system will become unstable. Okay, so we need to find out the marginal stability of the system, means the point at which poles will cut the imaginary axis. Okay, so for that purpose here we are having again some steps. So how to calculate the point of intersection to the imaginary axis? So here some steps are given. So first of all, again we need to consider the characteristic equation. So already we have derived the characteristic equation in previous step. Now arrange that characteristic equation in Routh array form, solve that Routh array, find the value of k marginal, put that value of k marginal in Routh array, then you will get one row as a total element in one row as a 0. So you need to consider the auxiliary row above that 0th row. Okay, means that is the Routh array special case 2, and take the auxiliary equation, compare it to the 0 and find the roots or find the values of variable s, and that will be the point on an imaginary axis at which root locus will cut. Okay, so in this way you can represent the characteristic equation in Routh array form. So first term is 1, third term is 2, again second term is 3, fourth term is k. Now solve this. How to solve this Routh array? In this way, 3 into 2 6 minus 1 into k in this direction. So it will be k divided by this term. So 3. So 6 minus k divided by 3, and for next term obviously we cannot multiply this 3 to onward term, so it is a 0, so we can consider it as a 0. So this term will be 0. In next step again this into this, so into remaining the 3 into this, so this, so obviously this will be the 0 divided by this, means the remaining factor is k, remaining factor is k. Okay, so here it is a k. Now if I want to find out the value of k, then I can compare this k is equal to 0, and second case is that 6 minus k divided by 3, it can be compared to 0. Now I am getting the value of k as a 6. So this, after solving this, I am getting k is equal to 6, and this is the k marginal value, means I am putting the k is equal to 6 in the above equation. The term which is present here, it will become 0. So here it is a 0, this one 0 and this is 0, means this total row s raised to 1 is 0th row. So that's why I can consider s square as a auxiliary equation. So take the upper row of the 0th row, so that is nothing but auxiliary equation, which is equal to a of s is equal to 3 into s square. After that constant term will be there, after s square there will be a constant term, so 3s square plus k, which is compared to the 0. Now I will get I can put the value of k, so 3s square plus 6 is equal to 0. Now solve this, s square is equal to 2, and after taking the roots I am getting s is equal to plus or minus j 1.414. S is equal to plus or minus j 1.414, means one is upper point at this point and another one is this point, means these are the 2 points at which root locus will cut the imaginary axis. Why 2 points? Cause I am considering the 2 poles at -1 and at zeros, so one will move like this whereas another will move like this, and they will cut the imaginary axis at j is equal at s is equal to -1.414 into j. In this way you can calculate the point of intersection to the imaginary axis. Now next step, angle of departure, that is phi d. But here you can observe all the poles are real poles and which are located on the real axis, that is s is equal to 0, s is equal to -1, s is equal to -2, means there is no pair of complex conjugate poles is present in this given transfer function. That's why there is no need to find out the angle of departure, or it is not applicable for this type of system where real poles are present. Okay, so there is no need to find out the angle of departure, and I can simply sketch the final root locus. Okay, now how to plot the root locus step by step. So let's consider, in order to, if you want to find plot the root locus step by step, then first I need to denote the S plane, then I will plot the open loop poles and open loop zeros which are present in the system. After that I need to find out the number of asymptotes. These are 3 angle of asymptotes, that is 60, 180 and 300 for this transfer function. After that I need to find out the centroid which is at -1, then take the angle, so like this 60, this is a 300 and this is 180 degree. So this is for this is up to angle of asymptotes or centroid. Next, breakaway point. So these 2 poles, I will just change it. So these 2 poles, this and this 2 poles will collide on each other, they will split away and they will cut the imaginary axis. Now the point at which they will cut the imaginary axis is -1.414, like this, here and here. Okay, so here it is a plus, here it is a -1.414, and breakaway point is -0.4. okay, so in this way you can sketch the root locus. So final root locus will look like this. So here it is a breakaway point and it will cut the imaginary axis in this way at plus or minus 1.414, and at that point the value of gain k is 6, means for a means these poles will cut the imaginary axis at this point. And now observe the asymptotes. That asymptotes are helping us to draw the root locus or to draw the root locus in that direction. So directions of asymptote is like this. So root locus is quite parallel or in this direction of the asymptotes. Okay. Now one can define the stability from this system. So observe the value of k. K is a 6. K marginal is 6, means in between 0 to 6 system is stable for values of k. Whenever the gain k is varied from 0 to 6, then system is absolutely stable. At k is equal to 6, it is marginally stable, and beyond k, if k is greater than 6, then the system is unstable. Okay, so in this way you can comment on the stability of system. So finally, at a concluding point, so we learned how to solve the problem based on the root locus and how to sketch the root locus, as well as how to determine the stability for the given system. Okay, so in next session you may try the problem which is having complex conjugate pair of poles, and in that case you need to find out the angle of departure. Okay, so how to find out the angle of departure? Like this, means just denote the poles and zeros like this. Here it is a complex conjugate pair, so angle made by this pole with the other pole, so for this and this and this. Okay, so three angle will be there, so you need to add all these three angles, that will become phi, and subtract it from 180 degree. Okay, so then you will get a angle of departure phi d. Okay, so I hope we have achieved our all learning objectives or learning outcomes from these sessions, that is steps, then plot of root locus, and comment on the stability. Okay, thank you.